Yeah, let's get the music going.
In the Herbal Essence commercial. Baby girl, I'm the better man. Then you say he don't eat, he must be a vegetarian. Cause as
Oh
long as I
god,
got this
I
space
forgot
and
how bad this song
control,
was. Okay, yeah, we're listening to some Field Mob, Eat 'em Up, Beat 'em Up. Look up the lyrics, they're really crude, but they're good, they're good. It was a song written by Max's dad. Um, he doesn't leave much up to the imagination with that one. Anyway, Fire Flames, League of Friends, and Henry's girlfriend. Just kidding. We're all friends. Um, let's sort of talk about what happened last week. There were some close matches. There were some teams that escaped being 0-3. Some other teams that didn't. Max. And we've got an interesting shame of the week this week. So let's sort of dive right in. I'll start off with my matchup against Sarah. This one was not that close, unfortunately, for Sarah. She had some underperforming players. Matthew Stafford had 2 picks, a fumble. Eddie Lacy didn't do much. He really needs to kick it up. And her leading scorer had 11.4, which is Michael Floyd, who may be on waivers now. I think she dropped him. So that's an interesting choice, but it is what it is. On my team, I ended up getting good performances from Rashad Jennings and pretty much a lot of people all around, and so I was able to pull one out and put up the highest score and avoid going 0-3. So Sarah is 0-3, and she'll be joined by Max, but she's an honorable 0-3. Nile versus Adam is the next one on the list. That one was pretty close. Nile could have won this one, but LaShawn McCoy did not do it. 2.2 points on 19 carries. He had less respectable running game than Donald Brown, and Donald Brown ran like 31 times for 60 yards or something like that. So Nile didn't do it, but Adam over here, he's got trouble. He was starting 2 tight ends for some reason. He benched Victor Cruz, who would have gotten him 17 points, but he ends up pulling out the win anyway. I think he was really just riding Julio Jones's butt. So that's a thing. So Nile becomes 1-2, joins me down there. Adam advances to 2-1. A winning record. Look at that. And we'll move on to Coy versus Julian. This one was really close, actually. The score doesn't really indicate it. But Coy had Jay Cutler and Matt Forte on Monday night against Julian. And Julian was really nervous about this one. He pooped his pants while watching this game. But Jay Cutler and Matt Forte couldn't do much. Forte couldn't find the end zone, only getting 7.6, the majority of that on actual receiving yards. But Julian ends up eking out the win, and he got some good performance out of Pierre Garcon to counter the Panthers' negative 7 points. That's shitty, but that's how it goes. It happened to me earlier this year too. He should have started LeGarrette Blount, who had some nice garbage time, 118 yards and a touchdown. But what can you do? So Julian wins. Julian advances to 2-1. We'll see if the T-Jack is finally going to move away from him. I don't know. Next matchup, we have Insidious Rex versus the Jacksonville Friend Zone Maggots. And Chris pulled this out, but you know what? Max should have won. He had Brandon Marshall playing on Monday. Chris was over there watching the game, and Max was really looking forward to a win. But Brandon Marshall had 1 catch for 6 yards, got injured, and he let his disorder get to him, and he couldn't get the points. So Max had some nice bench players like Reggie Bush and Deshaun Jackson, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But meanwhile, Chris improves to 3-0. Max, shameful 0-3. The league is getting him back for benching Reggie Bush when he could have started him and scored more points. So moving on, we had the Carisas, which is Eli's original team name now, versus the Agrabad Boys. Eli wins this one out. This one was pretty close. Eli actually is getting rewarded for taking Marshawn Lynch early. Marshawn Lynch has had over 24 points in 2 fantasy games. But he really got a lot of points out of Kirk Cousins, and even Cecil Shorts had a touchdown. So despite sort of the Packers not doing well and starting Sean Green, Eli was able to pull out a win. He had a few players who had points on the bench. Steven Jackson scored a touchdown, but he also made some smart benches. Henry's team not looking great, despite DeMarco Murray playing like a star. Demaryius Thomas is off to a slow start this year, and we'll have to see whether Henry can get back into things. Travis Kelce should be an interesting player if Jordan Cameron continues to be hurt. But Henry is 2-1. I don't know if his actual scores each week have really been the performance of that, but so be it. And the last matchup was Kelly's masterful team versus John Karsko. Kelly, her team didn't perform all that well, as it turns out. She almost scored 100 points. But she had a lot of underperformances. Chris Johnson didn't do much. Calvin Johnson didn't do a whole lot. Nor did Julian Edelman. But Phillip Rivers and Martellus Bennett, along with the Bengals defense, and Antonio Brown really carried it home. So, Kelly's team is looking good. And despite benching Jeremy Maclin, who had 21 points, and having, a kicker and defense on her bench, she's looking poised to make some big moves. And Karsko is really hoping that Cordero Patterson can finally pile on some juice, and that Aaron Rodgers can perform a bit better this coming year. But without further ado, let's actually talk a little bit about our shame of the week here. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this one.
Shame of the week. All the humanity and all the faith.
Cannot play with him. Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it.
Shame of the week.
Yeah.
You play
Oh, yeah.
to win the game. To win
Oh, yeah, wait, yep, the part's coming up. Just get ready. Get ready. Here it comes.
Just play it.
Get ready.
She's not a Christian.
It's coming up
Great
right
thing
now.
about sports.
And that was
Pretty soon.
disgraceful.
Here we go.
Playoff.
September the
11th. Enemies of freedom.
Well, see you later, Kanye. So that there is the nice Shame of the Week music, which is actually my ringtone for Max now. Max wins Shame of the Week for the third time, and you want to know why? Because look at his bench here. He's got Deshaun Jackson, Reggie Bush down there, but he starts Darren McFadden and Kyrie Robinson with Donald Brown in the flex. Listen, Max, I know you like benching Reggie Bush. He's still probably a better start than Darren McFadden. Deshaun Jackson, he may have been banged up a little bit, but Darren McFadden. Also, Alan Hearns outscored Brandon Marshall by 20 times. You could start 20 Brandon Marshalls, and Alan Hearns would still win that up. So, I'm not saying you should start Alan Hearns, but Alan Hearns was better than almost half your team. And also, let's see here. Reggie Bush plus Deshaun Jackson equals Peyton Manning plus Kyrie Robinson, and Darren McFadden, I think exactly, or just a little bit. They may even have a little bit more than those guys. So, shame of the week goes to Max, and those fart noises. That was Julian's my roommate. He was actually, I heard him. He was actually ripping ass and recording. He had his phone right under his butt. He ended up. It's not pretty, but Guidebook chooses to hire people like that, I guess, myself included. So, that's what it is. But anyway, looking forward to next week, getting out there on the gridiron, and best of luck.